20 seconds. That's all Honda gave us. 20 seconds of pure, unadulterated Formula One sound that's about to shake the entire paddock to its core. While you were wrapping Christmas presents, Honda Racing was unwrapping their 2026 masterpiece, the engine that will power Adrian Newey's Aston Martin revolution. No fancy graphics, no corporate speeches, just a frequency monitor dancing in red and the unmistakable growl of a V6 that's been 3 years in the making. But here's where it gets spicy. This isn't just any engine announcement. This is Honda's declaration of war. After their bittersweet divorce from Red Bull, the team they helped win 4 consecutive championships before being unceremoniously shown the door, Honda is back with a vengeance. And they're not just bringing an engine. They're bringing Adrian Newey's genius, Aston Martin's billions, and a sound that's already giving Mercedes and Ferrari engineers cold sweats. The question isn't whether this partnership will work, it's whether the rest of the grid is ready for what's coming. Remember when Honda first entered Formula One back in 2015? What a disaster that was. McLaren's Fernando Alonso famously called their engine a GP2 engine over team radio. And honestly, he wasn't wrong. Those were dark days, reliability issues, power deficits, and a partnership that ended in mutual frustration and very public finger-pointing. But then something magical happened. Honda found their groove with Red Bull's sister team, AlphaTauri, formerly Toro Rosso. Quietly, methodically, they started getting their act together. The breakthrough came when Red Bull took a massive gamble in 2019, ditching their Renault engines for Honda power. Everyone thought Christian Horner had lost his mind. Fast forward to 2021, and Max Verstappen is crossing the finish line in Abu Dhabi as world champion, powered by Honda's RA621H engine. 4 consecutive championships followed, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, with Honda's fingerprints all over Red Bull's dominance. It was the ultimate redemption story. But here's the twist that nobody saw coming. Just as Honda was hitting their stride, they announced they were pulling out of Formula One again. Corporate restructuring, they said. Focus on road cars and sustainability. The usual corporate speak that translates to, we're done spending hundreds of millions on racing. Red Bull scrambled, eventually securing a deal to continue using Honda's intellectual property while building their own engines through Red Bull powertrains. It seemed like Honda's F1 chapter was closed for good, until Aston Martin came knocking with Lawrence Stroll's checkbook and Adrian Newey's design genius. Suddenly, Honda's retirement looked more like a strategic sabbatical. They'd learned from their McLaren mistakes, proven themselves with Red Bull, and now they're ready for their third act, this time with the most ambitious team on the grid and the man who's designed more championship-winning cars than anyone else alive. The real story here isn't just Honda's return, it's the seismic shift happening beneath Formula One's surface that nobody's talking about. While everyone's obsessing over driver lineups and team drama, the 2026 regulation changes are about to flip the entire power hierarchy upside down, and Honda just positioned themselves perfectly for the chaos. Let's break down what's actually happening. The 2026 power units are losing the MGU-H, that complex energy recovery system that harvests power from exhaust gases. Sounds technical and boring, right? Wrong. This is massive. The MGU-H has been Mercedes' secret weapon since 2014, the reason they dominated the hybrid era's early years. Without it, everyone's back to square one. But here's where Honda's timing becomes genius-level strategic. They've spent the last 3 years watching from the sidelines, analyzing every weakness in the current systems while their competitors were locked into development paths. No legacy baggage, no outdated assumptions, just pure, focused development on the 2026 regulations from day one. Meanwhile, Aston Martin has been playing a completely different game. Lawrence Stroll didn't just buy a racing team, he bought a statement. The Silverstone factory expansion, the wind tunnel upgrades, poaching talent from every top team. This isn't about participation trophies. Stroll's building a technical powerhouse that can actually utilize Honda's engineering brilliance. And then there's the Newey factor. Adrian Newey doesn't just design cars, he designs systems. His integration philosophy means the Honda power unit isn't just bolted into an Aston Martin chassis, it's architected as part of a unified performance package. Andy Cowell's comments about daily meetings and perfect integration aren't corporate fluff. They're describing something Formula One rarely sees, true collaboration between engine manufacturer and chassis designer from the ground up. The political implications are equally fascinating. Honda's partnership with Aston Martin sends a clear message to Red Bull. You can use our old intellectual property, but we're moving forward with someone who actually appreciates what we bring to the table. It's the ultimate professional revenge, not bitter or petty, just devastatingly effective. This isn't just about 2026. Honda's betting that the next regulation cycle will reward innovation over tradition, fresh thinking over established hierarchies. They're not trying to beat Mercedes and Ferrari at their own game. They're changing the rules entirely. That 20-second soundbite wasn't just an engine firing up. It was the sound of Formula One's old guard getting their wake-up call. The ripple effects of Honda's return are already sending shockwaves through every garage on the grid, and the panic is barely contained behind diplomatic smiles and corporate PR speak. Let's start with Red Bull, who are trying to play it cool while internally screaming. They're stuck with Honda's 2025 intellectual property, essentially driving last year's engine while their former partner develops next year's breakthrough with their biggest rival for Adrian Newey's services. Christian Horner can spin it however he wants, but Red Bull powertrains just became the discount version of Honda racing. Mercedes are in full damage control mode. Toto Wolff's recent comments about Kimi Antonelli needing 3 to 5 years to reach his peak aren't just about driver development. They're buying time. Mercedes dominated the hybrid era because they cracked the MGU-H code first. Without it in 2026, their decade-long advantage evaporates overnight. They're not just losing their technical edge, they're watching Honda potentially leapfrog them with a clean sheet design. Ferrari's situation is even more precarious. They've spent years trying to match Mercedes' hybrid efficiency while developing their own 2026 power unit. Now they're facing a Honda engine that's had 3 years of focused development without the distractions of current competition. Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton better hope Maranello's engineers have been working overtime. But here's the really spicy part. Every customer team is now reconsidering their engine deals. Why settle for Ferrari or Mercedes power when Honda Aston Martin might be the 2026 combination to beat? Williams, Haas, Alpine, they're all watching those frequency monitors very carefully. The driver market implications are staggering. Suddenly, Aston Martin isn't just Fernando Alonso's retirement home. It's potentially the most attractive destination for any driver whose contract expires after 2026. Honda's return just turned Lawrence Stroll's ambitious project into Formula One's most dangerous wildcard. The verdict? Honda just played the longest con in Formula One history, and everyone else walked straight into the trap. Think about it. They endured the McLaren humiliation, proved themselves with Red Bull, then strategically withdrew just as the 2026 regulations were finalized. While Mercedes and Ferrari were locked into evolutionary development paths, Honda spent 3 years designing the perfect 2026 power unit from scratch. That's not retirement, that's preparation. Now they're back with Adrian Newey's aerodynamic genius, Lawrence Stroll's unlimited budget, and zero legacy baggage holding them back. The 20-second soundbite wasn't just marketing, it was a warning shot across Formula One's bow. Here's my prediction. The 2026 season opener will see an Aston Martin-Honda combination fighting for pole position, while Mercedes and Ferrari scramble to understand how they lost their decade-long advantage overnight. Red Bull will be regretting their Honda divorce, and every other team will be questioning their engine partnerships. Honda didn't just return to Formula One, they positioned themselves to dominate it. The only question is whether the rest of the grid realizes how badly they've been outmaneuvered. What do you think? Is Honda's 2026 comeback going to reshape the entire championship order, or am I giving them too much credit? Drop your predictions in the comments below.